Hey, welcome to another edition of Local Focus. I'm your host, Sebastian Noel. A lot to get to in today's program. First, I want to congratulate a past guest. Mariana Sharp was named the Gatorade Player of the Year in volleyball this year, and we just finished the Metro Tournament in basketball. So congratulations go out to the La Cueva girls, as well as on the boys' side, the Cleveland Storm. You know, I got to say a couple things about that. That shot at the end, man, I just don't ever expect Dion Battle to miss. I thought that was a volcano win all the way. And then La Cueva might be starting a three-peat of their own here, man, because that team is something to really look out for. They got a lot of young players. Speaking of La Cueva, the Connor O'Toole is my guest. It's kind of a big deal when you have a "the" in front of your name. So we're glad to have you, man.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
So we have a lot to get into, but first, I want to start with something a little maybe off the beaten path, but talk about what Austin meant to you guys as athletes there at La Cueva.
You know, Austin was huge. I mean, everyone obviously knew him. Yeah, he was a great person. I mean, every time in the hall, I can't remember a time I didn't say hi to him or he didn't say hi to me. So, you know, he's well known. He's a funny guy. And I mean, to the sports, I mean, obviously he's at every football game, I think. He ran our social media page. He announced the basketball, volleyball games and everything. So, I mean, so for someone like Austin, who a lot of people don't see what he does off, besides like announcing and stuff like that, he's just a great person. And he's a good guy to be around.
Yeah, we're going to miss him here, that's for sure. And I know every time I have a La Cueva guest, you know, he would send me a text on Tuesday morning after the show comes out. Hey, I watched your show, you know, and so that we'll miss that. Let's talk about your La Cueva experience first. Obviously, you know, a lot of success in multiple sports. So where do we start as a freshman? I mean, did you see all this coming as a freshman? Where was your athletic development as a freshman?
I mean, obviously, I ran, the only varsity sport I played as a freshman was I ran track. And that I kind of started later on. I wasn't too sure if I wanted to run or not, but I did end up running. I played basketball my freshman year, and football. I mean, we had a good football season. I think we went 8-0 as freshmen. But I really started to take off at the end of my sophomore year. And
talk about that. I mean, I do seem to recall that the track is when really most people started taking note, right? And that kind of bled into football. But the track success was almost instant. People started talking about, hey, how fast this guy is. And then next thing you know, there's 30 schools recruiting for football.
Yeah. So my track, I think I ran in state in the 4x1 my freshman year, and then kind of carried on to my sophomore year. I think I got disqualified in 300-meter hurdles. That was my individual event for that year. But I think I was in fourth place before I got DQ'd. But it was really that transition from my sophomore year to my junior year. Hit the weight room. I think I gained 20 pounds in between that. I went from 11.2 to 10.7. So it was just a lot of work in the off season that really got me to that point.
So how did the track benefit football? Obviously, they go hand in hand, it seems like. But I mean, how did it help you?
I mean, just speed. Speed's everything, especially as the levels progress. I mean, it's even more. But at the high school level, I mean, if you have elite speed like that, I mean, you're gonna fly through it.
Right. So, first of all, take us through. Well, let's do this. Take us through the average day during a football season of Connor O'Toole.
So this year and the past year, we always practice in the morning. So I get up about 5 o'clock, get ready to go, get at practice about 5:30. We start practice about 5:45 to 6. So then we go from about 6 to 8. Then we have class. So this year I got out of class at 12. So after that, I'd usually go take a nap, and then we'd have lifting after school, and then I'd usually get either a running workout or a weightlifting workout after that.
And these are all individual, right?
Yeah, or no, not
Or still team?
The teams after school.
Okay.
So from like 2:30 to about like 4, as we lift as a team, and then go eat a snack, and then I'll go get another workout in. But after that, I mean, it's already like 7 o'clock, so go home, get some rest, and wake up.
Yeah, it's
5 o'clock again.
already 7
Yeah.
o'clock. So obviously you're not some Joe Schmo that's just out there playing football for fun. How much work away from the team and individual work went into that?
Not too much. I mean, not as much during the season because everything's team during the
Right.
season. But the off season is really where you get to that individual. And last year during my track, during the track season, I'd wake up about 6 o'clock, go to football class. Then I'd have school at about 2:25. 2:25, go to track practice, and then get out of track about 5:30, and then I go lift for like 2 hours after school. I mean, some nights I was in the weight room till 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock.
So that sounds
so
fatiguing just hearing it.
Yeah.
I'm already not interested in any of that.
Yeah.
So, and then the summer, obviously, where most kids are looking forward to, the summer has to be pretty much all business for an athlete at your level, right?
I mean, early mornings again, get up 6 to 8. Usually get some work in after practice. Go rest, probably take a nap because early mornings can get rough sometimes for sure.
Right.
But then after that, I got a good group of buddies that I go lift with. So we get a good workout in, and we go for a run. We do something, but I mean, it's always, whether it's like an actual workout or watching film or
Right.
just getting better. Just always.
So let's talk Yaffle. I'm assuming you played Yaffle, right?
Mhm.
So were you the Yaffle kid that was, like the one kid that just dominating everyone, and
I wasn't.
you want to check his ID?
No.
Right? You've
No,
seen that, right?
I wasn't. I
Tell us
really.
about that.
My body wasn't really. I mean, I was always kind of like a goofy kid, like playing wise, at that age. So I mean, I never really like I always played defense too. I never really knew how to catch a ball at that young of an age. I just couldn't.
Really?
Yeah. So I mean, you could ask my old coaches, Dave Hamaker. He was Barrett's dad.
Right.
He was my youth coach, and he always messed with me because I could never catch a ball consistently. So I'd always play defense, and just kind of you can really see my development from the years on.
So then let's talk about that. How did you make yourself a better receiver as far as route running, catching, all that? What goes into that? What kind of drills? What kind of individual development?
At first I had to grow into my body. Once I get comfortable in your body, the jugs machine's huge. Tennis balls, just tossing, catching tennis balls, and then just throwing. I mean, it's all about how much you do it and how much time you put into it is what you're going to get out of it. So.
Right. And now jugs machine. What are we talking about miles per hour here, Connor? When did it start? Like if I could put one 10 feet in front of you right now, how fast could I crank that out?
I usually try to go about 40 to 50 just shooting them out.
Okay.
But I mean, if we're talking about like one catch and just getting ready for maybe like 60, 70.
What's the fastest, Coach Back? Because you know how he is. Did he ever oops, 90?
Yeah.
What's the fastest he ever cranked?
It's usually Marcelli. Marcelli
Okay.
usually try to crank that thing up on you. He'll sneak it up on you. You won't see him turn it up, and then all of a sudden he'll just launch it. Or he'll try to put it at 100 and tell you to catch it. He'll tell you to put your mouthpiece in.
Okay, all right. Well, you're in trouble when he tells you to put your mouthpiece in, right? You know it's coming there.
But I mean, you just tell him no, and it's like,
all right.
you just run.
So we'll take our first break here. We'll talk about your senior year a little bit. We'll talk about the injury, and then we got a lot of recruiting and college stuff to get into, obviously.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of Proview Sports Network. Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili, breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
Get into the game with Garden Schwartz Team Sales.
They have everything you need, from screen printing, embroidery, and digital printing services, high school letterman jackets, and all high school and club uniforms and individual and team apparel with the most reliable brands like Speedline, Rollins, and Wilson. And don't forget to check out the latest F7 Shut helmet. It's all at Garden Swords Team Sales. Give them a call, 505-884-1234. Garden Swords Team Sales.
All right, we're back with Connor O'Toole. Let's move to your senior season and football at La Cueva. Obviously, the expectations going into that year, they had to be pretty big. What are the expectations you put on yourself as an individual? What does Coach Back put on you guys as a team?
Yeah, obviously, I mean, coming off a state championship run, it's always, I mean, once you get to that level, that's always the expectation. And I mean, obviously, we fell short. We had a lot of adversity that I don't think a lot of people know about off the field.
Right.
That really hit us. Because I mean, your emotions, they kind of play a role into how you are as a person. So once a couple things get you emotionally, you always got to kind of bounce back, and it's always it's an uphill battle. That year for sure.
Well, and it's funny that you mentioned that because, when we cover the games and, myself, Adam, we get out there and, we try to ask Brandon as intelligent of a question as we can ask, but Brandon always, one thing that he's great at pointing out is he's always like, at the end of the day, these are still kids. You never know what's going to happen, right? So, managing those expectations, and now there's this huge spotlight on you as an individual. That had to be drastically different than your junior year, because your senior year, it was pretty intense, wasn't it?
Yeah, but when you got a team behind you and everyone that kind of supports you, all that stuff kind of flakes off,
Right.
and especially when it's just a team. If it's an individual sport, it might be different.
Right.
But when you got a team rally around with you, it's pretty easy. You just focus on that.
Right. So I asked Brandon for a quote, and we got one. Okay. He says he's the hardest working kid that I've ever had. What's your first reaction to that? Brandon's been at it a long time.
Yeah, I've heard him say that a lot of times, and I truly appreciate it.
He goes on to say he needs to work on his game with the ladies. He's as shy as he is talented. What's your response to that?
You don't know everything, but
Yeah, you see that, Coach? You're only coach part of the time. Let's go into the injury. Obviously, that had to be pretty. What does that do to you mentally?
it was hard. It happened early in the Rio Rancho game. I think first couple plays, and I felt it. I told him at halftime, I was like, I'm gonna get through the game, but I don't know after that. But just kind of going to the doctor and hearing the news it was hard, especially knowing what we had that year and what we had kind of going.
Right.
We dropped the first one to Volcano, but we were on a roll. We really started to roll after we ran over Cruces. So we kind of get our momentum back, and we're all clicking.
Right.
And then we had injuries. Obviously Tyler got hurt,
Right.
and then we had a lot of NAS as well. So it kind of all just felt like it was all falling down at one time.
Right.
But it's adversity, and it's about how you respond to it.
From an individual standpoint, at this point, it's a who's who of universities, and then you have this injury. What's going through your mind? You've given me all these team things, but what's going through your mind as an individual at this point?
It was hard. It was hard because I didn't know if I'd be able to finish the season. I didn't know where I was at that standpoint. I thought my senior year was done, and I always hear Coach say it. He's like, enjoy it because it'll be gone like that, and you don't really realize it until you have something that's in your face like that. And so it hit me hard, and but I just knew that to rehab and try to get back, that's all I could do, and there's nothing. I think I soaked on it for like a day, and then I was like, all right, I got to get going. Because if I don't start rehabbing now,
Right.
I'm never going to get back.
What went into that decision of coming back at the end of the season? That had to be, a pretty serious decision. I remember you and I talked on the sideline even about it when you were still sideline. And you have a good poker face. I'll give you that. I couldn't tell either way, man. You had the right answers. I couldn't tell either way. I thought maybe you were leaning towards not. But what went into that decision? Because that was a huge decision.
Yeah, obviously talked with our athletic trainer and some of the doctors, and I had a carbon fiber plate put in my shoe. It didn't really let my foot bend at all. So kind of ran around on practice with that. I ran a couple of days with just my helmet and stuff like that. But once I felt comfortable doing it after a couple of days of practice, and I knew I'd be all right for the game.
Right. So you're being, when we go to that decision again, obviously no one would blame you if you didn't come back for the end of your senior year, because we're talking Power 5, possibly, playing on Sundays in the future. I mean, first of all, who else did you talk to, and did your parents help you out with that? I mean, how close were you to not coming back? Take us through some of that.
I think more towards the beginning, I was more worried about coming back. But I mean, as I got going, kind of started running around a little bit, and I mean, talking to our coaches and our athletic staff and everything like that, kind of just, I started feeling more comfortable. And when I got back there, I mean, I knew I was at risk. But I mean, as my senior year, I got at max, I think it was like 4 more games left. So,
right.
I mean,
so how strong is that, how strong is that pull of, hey, I owe something to my team, versus the counter pull of, hey, I got a future that I got to protect? I mean, those two sometimes seem like they could be opposites, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, what's going on there?
I mean, it's definitely a hard decision. But at the end of the day, it was like, I mean, there's kids that, like Tyler, like just die to play. And I mean, everyone knows what happened to Tyler.
Right.
And so if just kind of thinking about what kids like that would do, and just know how much your team would give and how much they want you out there, I mean, it's just kind of hard to deny.
Right, and obviously when the team heard the news that you would be back, what was their response? What was their reaction?
I mean, I assume everyone was happy, but I mean, it was just back to work. We're just getting back to work.
Okay. Was there anyone in your inner circle that was kind of like, hey man, you gotta think this through carefully, or were you guys pretty much all on the same page?
I mean, there was a couple of people. I mean, they didn't say don't, but they're just like, be careful, know what you're getting yourself into, and everything like that. But I mean, there was no one that was like, you can't do this.
Right. So there was never a thought in your mind like, hey, this could be a potentially $1 million decision?
Yeah, I mean, there was definitely thoughts.
Right.
But I mean, I just had faith in my decision and just went with it.
And obviously a nice, healthy return to the. I mean, how happy were you to finish out your senior year there at La Cueva?
I mean, that's kind of what you build for. I mean, as an underclassman, you look up to those days as being an upperclassman, and
right.
I know that I had a future in the sport. But I mean, playing high school football with, I mean, your brothers who are pretty much like your family. There's nothing like it.
So as we kind of turn the page on that, what will you look back at most fondly at your time there at La Cueva?
Kind of just like the relationships you build. Like I like the relationships. So I mean, just having relationships with like your close. I mean, you make a lot of memories, and so just looking back on those would be something special.
So Brandon got that little zinger in on you. Do you have anything maybe you want to say about him that you can share with us?
I ain't gonna say nothing.
All right. All right, we'll take a break. You can tell me during the commercial, and I'll use it against Brandon in a year from now. Does that sound reasonable? So you'll be out of state. We'll be right back.
Calling all football players, are you looking to develop your skills this season? It's never too late or too early to put in the work. Coach Carl Barrere and the Air Barrere program at 8 Grady's Performance Center provide comprehensive position training for aspiring football players at all levels. Whether you're looking to increase your speed, gain strength, or hone your skill, we train all positions with a team of experienced coaches who know what it takes to succeed at all levels from Yaffle to college. Check us out at 8gradys.com to learn more and sign up for training today.
The world-famous Laguna Burger is beautifully handcrafted. A burger that's created from certified Angus beef, sinfully cooked to juicy perfection, and garnished with New Mexico's Hatch green chili. Tempt your taste buds with mouth-watering fresh ingredients.
Cut! We're gonna need another Laguna Burger. Try the irresistible, world-famous Laguna Burger. Visit thelagunaburger.com. It's fresh with a kick. Take 32.
What is glamour? Frailty. What is desire? Diamonds. They say a life lived without passion is hardly worth living.
Ma'am? Ma'am? Ma'am?
Dang, this one made me feel all special.
Car Crafters, proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
Are you sure we're supposed to be doing this?
Don't worry, I've watched him do it 1,000 times. Come on, what's the worst that can happen?
No! Bad dog!
Hi, welcome to Car Crafters. What happened? Don't worry, we'll make it like it never happened.
It's like it never happened.
Jackson Compaction wants to help you keep your green.
And keep the community green as well.
Jackson Compaction has worked hard to maintain the same prices since day one. Always easy and painless trash removal with professional crews and quality service. If it's non-hazardous waste, debris, or trash on your land, leave it to us. At Jackson Compaction, we're dedicated to ensuring the conservation of our environment.
You trash it,
we smash it. Jackson Compaction, we've earned a reputation for great results.
All right, we're back to it with Connor O'Toole here. We're already down to our last segment, so we got a lot of college stuff to get into. First and foremost, who was the very first letter and contact?
I think I had some Ivy League contact early on, but I mean, my first offer was UNM.
Okay, so I like leading with the Ivy League thing. That's a nice way of slipping that in, saying that you're also a genius. I like it. Well played. Well played. So UNM came when?
Back in early May or March.
Okay. And then when was the first one? What was the first one you got where you were really like, whoa?
Well, I was actually I was talking to Baylor for a while.
Okay.
So I went out to their spring game, and they were talking to me before UNM was. So I kind of had that, and they're like, I mean, we were just talking, and then they ended up offering me, I think, a couple weeks after UNM offered me.
People were a little surprised at that LaQueva thing when you didn't pick Baylor. I heard some oohs and ahs, right?
Yeah.
We'll get to that. Man, how mentally fatiguing is that process?
It's hard. I mean, at first it's kind of cool. You're like, whoa, like it's kind of cool at first. But then, I mean, after like a month or so, it gets tiring. But you can't really rush it because you got to make the right decision. Because I mean, it's a lifelong decision.
Right.
It's going to be a place that you live and you go to school and everything like that. So you got to feel comfortable in what you're doing.
So what goes into that? I mean, who's there to help you there? I mean, are you doing the old school pros and cons to each place? What's going on?
Yeah. I mean, obviously my parents were big. Coach Back was big, and Coach Marcelli and a couple other coaches. And then I had some little voices at the college level that I kind of knew, so that they kind of helped me out.
What visits? Where did you go?
Just about everywhere.
Right, and so I mean that's my point. I mean you're still a student during all this time, so I mean I don't imagine you had very many weekends in Albuquerque, right?
Yeah, no. For a while it was tough, and then there's in between the dead period. I think it was towards the end of summer. There's like a week, and I think I went to 7 schools in like 8 days. So it was a long trip.
So take us through when did you kind of narrow it down to a short list? When did that happen?
I'd say about after football season. I kind of had more of a chance to focus on just recruiting. So I went out, or my official visits. After my official visits, I really got it narrowed down.
So your short list was narrowed down to what?
Arkansas, Baylor, Utah, Washington State.
Okay, and you took a visit to each?
I did.
Okay. So anything that stand out? I mean, what's the coolest thing to happen at those 4 places?
I mean, kind of just like the environment that you're in. I mean, like the facilities and everything like that are cool, but one person told me, like every Power 5 school has the facilities, the education, everything like that. It's all about the people. So kind of just the relationships that you build and just being around the players and everything like that.
Is Mike Leach as crazy in person as he? I mean, is the TV Mike Leach? Is that Mike Leach?
Yeah, that's Mike Leach.
I'd like to have a beer with Mike Leach.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I'd like to do.
Yeah.
Because the guy seems like he's so interesting. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, he's funny. When I got there, he was sick. I was supposed to meet with him the first day I got there, and he was sick. But I saw him out at practice, and I mean, he's not involved in a whole lot of recruiting. So I mean, I never really like build a strong relationship with Coach Leach until the end of recruiting. But when I saw him, you ask him a question, and he'll talk about one question for like 10 minutes. And he's a funny guy. I mean, I think he has a pet raccoon.
A pet raccoon, okay.
Yeah.
So, well, interestingly enough, out of that Final Four, 2 of those teams no longer with their head coach, right? So Mike Leach left, or 3. That's right, 3 of them. That, I mean, what did you make of all that when that started to go down? I mean, you already decided, so you probably could care less, but interesting.
Yeah, interesting. I knew one for sure would be gone.
Who did you think would be gone?
The Arkansas coach, unfortunately, because I really like him, and he was on the pace to do good things over there. I thought that Coach Rule might leave. but I wasn't too sure. I did not think Coach Leach would leave, so that was surprising.
So these coaches are all gone. Does that kind of vindicate your decision? Are you happy with, hey, wow, I dodged a bullet here. The one I picked, he's still there.
Yeah, no, I mean, it definitely feels like kind of dodged a bullet for some of them. But I know there's going to be good coaches, especially at Baylor, that's going to step in.
Final decision came when timetable-wise?
After my official visit to Baylor, kind of knew that night when I got home, kind of settled in, had a couple hours to think about it, and just it felt right.
And who did you tell first?
My parents.
I read a really cool thing with Austin. We go back to Austin. We started the show with Austin. Maybe we'll hit it again here, where you whispered it to Austin. Usually, being the selfish guy that I am, I get really upset when I don't hear something first. But when I read that, I thought that was the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
So paint that scene. Actually, just retell the whole story for our audience that maybe hadn't heard it.
Well, I mean, we kind of got the news about how Austin was doing. So me and a couple buddies, we went down to UNM, and there was a bunch of people in the room. And I was kind of talking to his dad, and he's like, we started talking about recruiting a little bit, and he's like, you want to tell Austin where you're going? So I went up to Austin, and I whispered in his ear where I was going.
I mean, that when I read that, I just thought that was the coolest thing ever, man.
Yeah.
That had to be a surreal moment.
Yeah.
Now, where are we at in your mind now? Where's Connor O'Toole 5 years from now, 6 years from now? I mean, have you started NFL goals already? I mean,
not yet.
You got something big off your plate
Yeah.
now where you chose the college, right? But I mean, it's only the beginning now, right?
Yeah. I mean, I haven't really thought about any of that yet. I kind of like one step at a time. So I got to get to Utah first, and I gotta end up playing time at Utah, and I got to make a mark at Utah. So I mean, I got a lot of steps to get to a big goal like that. So.
The good news is there's not a lot you can do in Utah to get in trouble, from what I've been told.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Yeah.
When do you start getting the playbook and all that stuff? When do you immerse yourself fully?
I just got my workouts, so I should give you my playbook. I talked to the receiver coach the other day, so he's either going to come bring one out here or mail me one. So I should be getting that soon. Hit that from the ground pretty quickly. Try to learn that as fast as I can.
Is it like a weight has been lifted off your shoulders now that you've decided? I seem to hear that a lot from a lot of people. When they decide, it's just a relief.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. I mean, it's definitely relieving. I mean, it gets stressful, especially towards the end of it. I mean, you got multiple schools calling you a day, especially towards signing day, trying to get you not to sign, kind of seeing where you're at and everything like that. So now it's over, I feel relieved.
So, what do you think is going to be harder to adjust to? Is the game in the Pac-12 there, or just the media attention? Like this dopey show is nothing compared to Pac-12 Media Day, right? So, I mean, what do you anticipate being the hardest thing to adjust to?
I'm expecting like the game speed. I mean, I'm playing pretty much against everyone with, at least better than what I am. So, I mean, against playing high school ball, it's a big step up. So I feel like it would take a little bit of time to get adjusted to the game speed.
Well, we'll all be watching. Good luck, man.
I
Thanks for
appreciate
coming
it.
in.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching, and good night.
Huge savings on all jacuzzi and Cal Spas hot tubs and swim spas at Dream Style Remodeling, 1460 Renaissance Boulevard. Enjoy family fun for years to come with your new hot tub or swim spa. Get 20% off select hot tubs and 30% off swim spas. We offer easy financing and free delivery and setup. You can rely on Dream Style Remodeling for complete professional installation. Stop by Dream Style Remodeling today, 1460 Renaissance Boulevard across from Sam's Club. Hurry, sale ends soon.
Calling all football players, are you looking to develop your skills this season? It's never too late or too early to put in the work. Coach Carl Barrere and the Air Barrere program at 8 Grady's Performance Center provide comprehensive position training for aspiring football players at all levels. Whether you're looking to increase your speed, gain strength, or hone your skill, we train all positions with a team of experienced coaches who know what it takes to succeed at all levels from Yaffle to college. Check us out at 8gradys.com to learn more and sign up for training today.
St. Clair Winery and Bistro has been renamed in honor of our founders, the Lascombe family. D.H. Lascombe Winery and Bistro continues to deliver the same exceptional wine and food experience you've come to expect since 2005. Visit us today, D.H. Lascombe Winery and Bistro.